Yo, what's up guys? Punkrat here with another video. This one's going to cover a brief history of wall jumping in WoW and its implications in the game. Hope you guys enjoy it. Let's get into it. We probably all already know that wall jumping has been a phenomenon in video games throughout the history of 3D gaming. But wall jumping has a particularly strong presence in the history of World of Warcraft. I've been pondering this notion quite regularly since Blizzard announced that WoW Classic was going to be emulated within the modern game engine used for retail WoW. A lot of little bugs in the game, at least not game-breaking ones, added to the vanilla experience in a certain way.
Remember that one bug that really pissed you off that we fixed like 2 years ago? Still there in the past. And by the way, you don't want to do that either. You think you do, but you don't.
And I question what's going to happen to them with Classic being released in the new game engine. There's a lot of buggeroonies that I wanted to cover, like moonwalking for example and some others. But for this video, I'm going to keep it strictly on the topic of wall jumping and its implications in the game. The first aspect of wall jumping is just the pure adventure of it. Vanilla is an organic MMO world where people run almost aimlessly sometimes, exploring every nook and cranny they can find. In the past, this led to really awesome adventures that took people to wild, unknown locations with special Easter eggs awaiting them. The first one I experienced back in the day when I was a little boy was climbing atop Ironforge. Through the tunnel system that leads to Loch Modan and wetlands, there was this little spot where you could shimmy your way up, then run a path along the mountain range to the absolute tippy top of Ironforge. It was miraculous being at the top of the ledge, above the gate of Ironforge, overseeing the entire entrance, overseeing all the people dueling outside the main city. And the best perk involved was committing Sudoku. Actually, it's seppuku. I know, Winston. It's a joke. Calm down. The all-time best Easter egg in Ironforge is undoubtedly Old Ironforge. This is more of an exploitative type of practice. It's achieved with a blind or a fear slash polymorph. I'm pretty sure fear and polymorph work as well, but the actual pathing, if you do it in a specific spot, this pathing from the CC will glitch you through the wall. It's not really wall jumping, but it's just a memory that will stick with me forever from vanilla, and it's another adventure in Ironforge. Ironforge is filled with tons of wall jumping and adventures. Interestingly, a lot of the inside structures can be scaled, which has great adventure potential. But even better is the PvP potential from this wall scaling. It's very common in vanilla and TBC to find horde groups sneaking into Ironforge and scaling atop the rooftops, which is incredibly fun for ganking dudes below. You can bring a group of casters with a healer atop the roofs, blasting innocent bypassers on the lower level. You essentially become a group of city monkeys throwing feces at the civilians below. It's actually so much fun to do this with a good group, and it results in a great time almost every single time. It's especially great on the rooftops between the Mage Quarter and the Auction House. There's always unsuspecting victims who just teleported to Ironforge who will run to the Auction House without even noticing the baboons at the top of the building getting ready to sling their mud in your eyes. Ooker dooker! Similarly, you could do this in Silithus, or at least within Cenarian Hold in Silithus, which is something a lot of people are actually unaware of. But you were actually able to scale to the top of one of the buildings in Cenarian Hold, as well as some of the poles surrounding the city. This would put you in a spot where the guards wouldn't be able to attack you, or I guess a safe spot you could say. And you would be able to nuke unsuspecting victims walking below. This was immensely fun on a warlock specifically. People would run by you below, and you would just full dot them, watching them run away hopelessly as they rot, melting like a damn candlestick. There's also an interesting way to get above the arena cage in Gadgetzan, which can potentially give you the ability to nuke people hovering around the city. Gadgetzan tends to always be pretty populated with level 40s to level 60s. I haven't tried this one or seen it in action like the other ones that I mentioned in this video, but I'd imagine that the guards would evade when trying to hit you, making this a safe spot for nuking civilian worms below. There's also, I think, a way to do this in Redridge or in Lakeshire, if I'm not mistaken at least. But at that point, you're ganking level 20s, so there's nothing really special there, honestly. Stormwind and Elwyn Forest are also great landscapes for wall jumping. Similar to the feces slinging atop of the roofs of Ironforge, groups of hordes can infiltrate Northshire, then scale up the top of the inn and cause an all-out ruckus from the Alliance forces being called to battle in the local defense channel. There's also tons of ways to scale up the outer mountain ranges in Elwyn. One path which can actually lead you to the top of the Stormwind entrance gates, similar to climbing the entrance of Ironforge. One of the most classic wall jumps, however, within Stormwind is a run that you can do where you scale the outer ledge of one of the leading tunnels going into the trade district from the mage district, which can lead you under the geo of the actual city itself. You can then proceed to run across the plain straight to the opposing side of the city and get behind that ominous portal behind the gate between Trade District and Old Town. Orgrimmar has a similar run where you can scale up a wall, then jump onto the roof of one of the huts in the Valley of Honor, then proceed to jumping over the wood fencing, which will drop you directly under the geo of the city itself, again, similar to Stormwind. There's also ways to scale up to the top of Orgrimmar above the tarps themselves, which can lead you to the top of many of the huts and buildings within the city and in some of the more populated zones within Orgrimmar, which can obviously offer a similar opportunity to camping groundbound fools while in the safety of the rooftops of the city, very similar to what we saw in Ironforge. Wall jumping has immense implications in PvP. All the seasoned vanilla PvP gods immediately know what I'm talking about here, especially in Warsong Gulch. In Warsong Gulch, flag carriers have the ability to absolutely abuse wall jumping in order to take more efficient and unexpected routes straight to the flag room in a very stealth manner. Druids are the best at abusing this due to their ability to jump further whenever they want, using the increased run speed from travel form for a speedy takeoff. As a Druid FC on Horde side, with Noggenfogger of course making sure you're super tiny, you can exit the Alliance base, proceed ramp side, hide behind all the bushes, and make a run for it while hugging the east side of the map to its extremity. Generally, once you get around here, you would have to cut through the middle of the map in order to get to the tunnel entrance, putting yourself in a vulnerable position. This is not the way it's done though, however. Druids go east of the Horde graveyard, scale up this little ledge right here, then jump onto the opposing ledge, giving them a free path straight to the flag room. Alternatively, there's ways that you can scale up by using the Horde entrance hut, which you can use to juke people when trying to survive with the flag. So, for example, you would run down tunnel while people are chasing you from behind, then just hop back up as you cut around the corner outside the tunnel entrance, utterly confusing those chasing you as you leave line of sight exiting the door. On a line side, you can do similar routes, exiting ramp side on the Horde side map, then wall jumping up this massive tree trunk if necessary. This can be great for either confusing the enemies so they don't know where the flag is, or getting an aerial view of the map so you could decide your route and your timing of when you want to leave. Or just gun it straight down in the same way that I mentioned on Horde side and go straight to the Alliance graveyard. There's wall jumps that you could do in order to make it straight up the Alliance graveyard, which a lot of people are completely unaware of, as well as ways to jump up the fence and get through it, which is, again, great for kiting and juking enemies as they chase you. Arathi Basin has two awesome wall jumps that I'm currently aware of. One at the blacksmith, which is the cheesiest one, allowing you to get above the blacksmith hut and unleash destruction amongst all the ground-bound plebs below you. And another one is pretty much the same thing, but it's at stables. You essentially get up top of stables, but generally there's nothing really going on at stables, so it's less of a thing, I guess. The one at blacksmith can be absolutely devastating if you have a warlock, shadow priest, and mage up there. It's a bit gimmicky. It's extremely gimmicky. Not sure how I feel about this one in general, but hey, I'm just a reporter here, impartial and neutral, am I right? So, to sum it all up, I'm not exactly sure where I stand on a lot of these wall jump glitches. Some of them are more game breaking than others, that's for sure. But like it or not, they're a part of the essence of Classic itself. I feel like it would pain me to see most of these wall scaling adventures taken away due to the game being implemented within the new game engine, with possible bounding box fixes. I know that there was some point, I think in Cataclysm, maybe another expansion, where a lot of the wall scaling just didn't work anymore, at least not in the same way. The imperfections within the game are what make this game what it is. It makes the game more human in a way. Imperfections are a part of life. These imperfections also give way for a whole new layer of gameplay and organic adventure, which can be super fun, especially when raiding the opposing faction city in a small group. Hopefully we can still get to the top of some of the buildings in the new game engine and cause an absolute ruckus for our enemies. In my opinion, The beauty of vanilla is symbolized within the wall jumping culture, so to speak. Vanilla is about creating your own adventure, your own story. Going off the beaten path is generally a good thing. It adds depth and replayability to a game like this, an MMORPG. Wall jumping is definitely not something I want to see nuked in Classic going forward. So let me know what you guys think about that. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. These types of little subtle changes are honestly the thing that I worry about the most when talking about implementing the old game into the new engine. I have some other topics within the same scope as this, which I could potentially make videos on. So if you guys like this kind of content, hit the like button and leave a comment below for more videos like this one. With that said, have a good one, guys, and hit subscribe, hit the notification bell, and I'll see you on the next one.